following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Flags. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Final show of 2022. Man, hard to believe the year is almost over. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and that is a little hard to believe. But it's also football time, and it's not 15 below like it was a week ago. The weather really is quite good. And that's a real treat. Let's head up to the plateau. It's actually halfway okay up there. Watson Brown joins us. How are you?
George, it's beautiful up here today. Yeah. And I just had to see your beautiful face on a Friday.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Last show of 2022, I had to see George Plaster.
Yes, that is such a load of bull.
No, it's true.
No, it's not true. People need to know that on this one, you're a total liar. Billy?
George?
Do you think he's lying?
I mean, that was pretty sincere, George.
You really think so?
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
Truth. Tell him the truth.
That's the truth.
I think, every once in a while when I do try to say something nice to you, you just put it down. So, I mean, I might as well just give up on it. I'll just stay on your fanny the whole time, every show from here on out. I'm not going to say one nice thing.
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution, give George more grief than I did last year.
Man, I don't know if that's even possible. So let me kind of tell people a little of what's going on today. Terry will join us with his daily Titans update a little later in the show. Watson's Titans analysis, which of course is award-winning. Don't know what award, but it's award-winning. And that will come in about 10, 12 minutes. So, Billy, I believe the floor is yours to do an update.
Yes, it is, George. And fair warning, I'm not going to be showing my face today because whenever I tried to show it yesterday, it would glitch out, a little delay. So I'm going to make just a little fair warning to the viewers. But, George, bowl report, there were 3 yesterday.
Do you want to come over here where they can see you for a minute?
No, that's okay, George. George, Minnesota beat Syracuse yesterday, 28-20. All the games yesterday were pretty good. Florida State over Oklahoma 35-32 in the Cheez-It Bowl, and then Washington defeats Texas 27-20 in the Alamo Bowl.
Hook 'em horns.
And then today,
we've
got a pretty good slate. Not as good as tomorrow, of course, but Notre Dame and South Carolina at 2:30. We've got Maryland leading NC State as we speak 10-3 in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So the winner of that, the coach will get a mayo bath.
Yeah, it's always good to have plenty of mayo on hand. Watson, and is it just me or is this kid Quinn Ewers a little overrated?
He's a lot overrated.
Yeah, he needs a haircut.
He had a lot of drops last night. There's about 2 touchdowns that a Texas receiver dropped right in his hands.
But I don't think he's the answer.
No, I don't think he is either.
I'd say the Arch Manning coming in the door will get a really good look this spring. What do you think?
He's the answer right there.
Oh, I think old Quinn, the minute this doesn't go well, can you say transfer portal?
Again?
Maybe back to Ohio State?
No, he knows better.
He might rival before it's over JT Daniels.
Whew, that's hard rival.
That is hard to do.
I
Have to get moving.
I believe that at the Rose Bowl parade, JT will have a float. Most transfers.
Part of the float will be Southern Cal.
Yes.
And part of the float will be West Virginia. And now part of the float will be a Ross Owl. What we do, here we go.
Yeah, I love it.
The world traveler.
Okay, so what else we got?
Well, we got Tennessee and Clemson
Action-packed
tonight, and we'll talk all about that coming up here in about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But, George, we got some NFL news. Philadelphia is undecided on their quarterback this weekend. We're not sure if Jalen Hurts is going to play or Gardner Minshew. So we'll wait and see on that. But that's news coming out of Philly.
Watson, if you're Philly, do you feel like you hold him another week just precautionary?
Yeah, and it could cost you a game, but all you got to do is win one of the two. I mean, I wouldn't put him out there if he's still hurting. And if it's any form of a grade 2 or above sprain that he's got, that takes a while. That's I think a good 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's his throwing arm too. If it was the non-throwing arm, it might be different, but I'd hold him. Who do they play?
Is it New Orleans?
Not sure
I
off the
believe
top
it's
of
New
my head.
Orleans.
If it's somebody they can beat without him, I'd hold him another week. They need to get this over with. I know they don't want to go into the last week having to win that game.
And I think the answer is they can, first of all, Gardner Minshew is better than some starters in this league. And people got really good taste of that, in the game against Dallas. They'll do just fine with him.
Oh, yeah.
And given that they should have that level of confidence in him, they ought to hold Jalen Hurts out.
Yeah, I'd hold him.
Well, another guy that is probably going to be held this weekend and maybe the rest of the season is Tua Tagovailoa. And his brother, who is the quarterback at Maryland, Talia, has come out and said that he thinks Tua is going to keep playing football. So he believes his brother will stick with it, which isn't really surprising. But
no. And Miami continues to give you the, possibly next week. And I'm like, if you really care, you just put a stop to this nonsense.
Well, it's kind of what I think that's what the Titans did with Tannehill. I mean, I think they saw it's not great progress, and they don't want to put him out there and hurt him worse.
Yeah. So, and also with Ben Jones.
And Ben Jones, who's had the exact issues Tua's had, by the way.
Yeah.
And they put Ben Jones on IR, so they're not letting him play again. I just don't think after you've had two, you need to go back out there.
Well, we got a lot of quarterback talk. We've got another quarterback. Tanner Mordecai has transferred from SMU, and he's expected to land at Wisconsin. Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz just left for Florida.
Which made no sense.
So, yeah. But Tanner Mordecai is a really good player, and they may have upgraded.
Not may.
The way he played last year, they upgraded.
They really upgraded over. I mean, he's a much better player. That's Mac's coordinator now. That's at Wisconsin now, Phil Longo.
Phil Longo.
And wide open quarterback, absolute quarterback-oriented offense. So they're out hunting the right guy, believe me, because he'll take his stuff and run it at Wisconsin. It's going to be interesting to watch that too, guys, because really nobody has run that style of offense in the league, in the Big Ten.
Especially at Wisconsin.
And at Wisconsin, who's a power bunch, it's going to be interesting, number one, to see if that'll last through a hard season of bad weather
and stuff. And
if people can stop it up there, because they don't play it year in and year out. So I'm really anxious to watch this one.
And do you have the dudes to really fully utilize that offense the way you want?
Listen,
I don't
there's
know.
nothing colder in November than Camp Randall.
It's a little bit different than Southern Methodist University down there in Texas.
Or Camp Boxwell, for that matter, in our area.
George, we have some soccer news come across the ticker yesterday. Pele has passed away at the age of 82. Greatest soccer player to ever live.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a biggest soccer guy, but that's what I was hearing yesterday.
No, I think what you're going to see, Watson, is kind of a head of state kind of deal, that's the way this is going to get treated.
Should be. He is the best one. I mean, we all grew up watching him, George. He's older than us, but especially me. I'm 72. He was 82. I watched him as I grew up, and there wasn't anybody close to him in those days. Nobody could play the game like he could. He's the Michael Jordan of soccer, if you ask me. If they don't have a State of the Union with him, it's nuts.
Well, another sad piece of news that came across, and we talked about it, of course, a lot with Mike Leach. There's been a lot of different teams that have honored him. TCU is going to play with pirate flag stickers on the back of their helmets. Or I don't know if it's one big sticker. That's probably what it is, George. But
so let me add, does the NCAA have to approve that?
No.
Or are they out of the?
No, you can put any sticker. It can't be advertisement or something like that, but all schools know that. But no, you don't have to approve putting a sticker on the back of your helmet. No.
Although when you say that, we now have pro teams, in particular in the NBA, that have an advertising patch on their uniform.
I know.
That's coming.
That's
called,
I mean,
especially
money.
Hey, it may not be legal today. You give it a couple of years, it'll be legal.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
All right, real quick here, George. Aaron Judge has been named the Associated Press Male Athlete of the Year. Of course, 62 home runs. That'll do it for you.
Beat out Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, that was a close race.
Oh,
a lot of people wanted Ozuna.
That would be kind of a New Year's present. Somebody to take old Marcell off the Braves' hands. But we digress. What a year he had. I mean, there's not a hint of scandal to his number. And, I think the public really got into that.
Oh, yeah, he's the real deal. He is the real deal. And
when
class act off the field. So
yeah,
great.
When
he bet on himself, he gained about $100 million by betting on himself.
Mm-hmm. When this is important, this is an important story when you're cutting into college football games on Saturday for Aaron Judge breaking the record potentially.
That didn't go over real well.
No, especially
in the college football world.
In the South.
No, it really didn't.
A lot of upset people on that one.
Mm-hmm. That is it, George.
That is it?
Yep.
We're done?
Final update of 2022.
Okay. After the break, Watson will have his award-winning Titans analysis. Titans, I think they did about all they could last night, but we'll see if Watson agrees with that or disagrees with it. Anyway, Dallas won at 27-13. We're back with more in a moment on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
So let's talk about last night. Cowboys came into Nashville and came away with a 27-13 win over the Titans. By the way, Watson's Titans analysis is brought to you by the folks at Pennington Distilling Company. So, Watson, when I threw it out there that I think they did about all they could last night, do you buy that?
Yeah, I do. I think when we get into the analysis, the first one I got up there fits it to a T. But they played about as well as they can. But you see, number one, it was a Vrabel-type game. It's amazing to me that Vrabel's style can get people to play poor on the other side of the ball. I mean, Dallas they did not play well at all last night. I thought we played solid other than those same old mistakes we seem to make with the penalties and that. But I think it's because we play such great field position with our punter. You go long distances. Sooner or later, you're going to screw it up before you get there. And we stop the run really well. We stop the run well against whoever we seem to play, and we get them to passing the ball, and you'll make more mistakes having to pass it all the time instead of being able to run it and pass it when you want to run it and pass it. And it turns into a Vrabel style game, and it's not pretty. That was not a great game to watch last night. There were a lot of mistakes made in the game, but it's our way to win. We seem to get people to not play as well, and we keep the game close, and then we find a way to win it in the end, George. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's what we've seen Mike do with his teams, major underdogs, and he found a way to hang around last night.
Okay, people are going to be very interested in your analysis of Joshua Dobbs, who I thought did some pretty good things. He wasn't perfect, but there's no way he was going to be. So give me some thoughts.
I thought he played really well. I think if he had been on a good team, a good offensive team with a lot of talent around him, he might have had a really good game last night. And the great thing he does, the first thing he does really good is get rid of the ball. We didn't have the sacks last night because we're not back there holding it and looking around. And I mean, it's out of his hands, or he would take off. He would take off running if he felt it in the pocket, but he's a run to throw guy. He's not a run to run guy. He's looking to throw as he's moving around and takes off running. Then he'll kind of go sideways and look to throw the ball. He threw on time. He was accurate most of the night. He had an interception that was forced. He threw one other ball kind of in a crowd, but it wasn't interceptable. And the rest of the time, George, I thought he handled it really well. I wrote on here, gives the Titans a chance this week. He does. We threw the ball better last night than we've probably thrown it in 4 or 5 weeks, to be very honest. And so I thought he played well. To me, I think he ought to, if they keep Tannehill next year, I'm not sure he shouldn't be the backup. I'd keep this guy around. I like him. He's a winner. We've watched him play through college. I don't know that he's a bona fide starter. I think he is a really good backup. And if I'm the Titans, I keep this guy around. But he's got a chance to really prove himself now, because he could take this team down to Jacksonville and win this game. And I thought he threw it well enough to give them enough passing game to where now I feel like they got a shot.
Okay, there's a lot of different stuff to unpack here. Let me start with this one. Have you given up on Malik Willis?
No, but I don't think he's the guy now. The tough question for the Titans, if they keep Tannehill, is would you keep Josh Dobbs as the backup, put Willis on the practice squad, or would you keep Dobbs as the backup and let them fight it out in the summer? And then the one that don't make it, keep them as a third player on the 53-man squad. That's going to be a big decision to me for the Titans next year. But I really like Josh Dobbs. I said it on Monday when they brought him in. I said, now there is a good move. That is a good move. And he probably wasn't gettable back in the summer because he was the backup with the Browns. And then when Watson came back, it's how he got freed up. And so I like him. I think he'd be a fantastic backup. I think he'd be one of the better backups in the league because he's smart. He doesn't have to have all the reps all the time to be able to go out on the field and do his job. He's really poised. He never lost his cool last night. He got mad at himself a couple of times, but he was always under control. And so I got very few negatives about the young man.
The pocket presence is what sort of surprised me a little bit because, even at Tennessee, he was a runner. I mean, he made some throws, but college is different in the NFL. I mean, he was a heavy run type quarterback, but Watson, would you agree that sort of his presence in the pocket behind let's face it, a bad offensive line was pretty impressive?
Yeah, his poise was fantastic, and he got rid of the ball, Billy. He got rid of the ball. He would hit check downs because the pressure was too hard on him. Mm-hmm. It seems like our other guys hit the check downs after they waited forever to see if the number one receiver didn't come open. But Josh seemed to me like last night he could feel the heat, knew, I got to get this thing out of here. And in 6, 7, 8 days, he knew exactly where the check down was and threw the check down on time. It wasn't a late check down. So again, some nice throws, a couple of deep throws were very nice that were we're covered. We don't have great talent to get open to. I don't have negatives. I think he is absolutely a luck get to go down to Jacksonville and have a chance to win that game, because I don't think we had any chance with Malik. And of course, Ryan wasn't coming back. I never felt like he was. And so we've lucked out here. We've got a decent guy that gets another week of reps that could go down there and win this game for us, help us win this game.
Okay, let's ask it this way, because you know how this kind of stuff works, and we sort of guess more than anything. But a week of him being the man with all those reps, what's realistic to expect that a week from now, when they play Jacksonville, that he can do these things that last night maybe he couldn't do?
I don't see much, because the Titans offense is not very complicated. It's really not. And
you want me to go through that again?
They might deepen the drop back game with him, with his sense of timing, but all the other stuff that we do, George, I think he had it last night. I watched him. Every once in a while he'd have to go to the wristband to read the play, because he's been said, okay, number 4 on your thing. And then he'd look at it, but a lot of the times he'd just quick look at it, and then he'd look up and just call out the play. There was only a couple of times where I saw him, as he's calling the play, he's looking at his arm. So that tells me he had a pretty good grasp of what was going on. And I just think the timing with the players, more than him being able to grasp something, an extra week of timing with all those receivers and tight ends and all of that is going to make him a better player next week.
Okay, let's go to item number 3 on Watson's checklist. And number 3 would be eventually, I'll just go ahead and read it. There it is.
Yeah, it's up here.
Titans issues continue to be issues.
Yep, that's it. And George, there's still issues. The offensive line is still a major issue. Has been all year. Wasn't any better last night, even though it looked better, but Josh made them look better because he got rid of the ball so fast. And right now the Cowboys are struggling. They're not getting sacks. And if we spent time on the Cowboys, I don't think they're going anywhere either.
Well, let's face it. That they are either going – likelihood is they're going either to Tampa or to Carolina, depending on who wins that game.
And they can win that one.
They can win that. Now, I think they got a lot better shot to win in Tampa. After that, I don't see it.
I don't think they're good enough on defense. And honestly, Dak is just too inconsistent. He has these spurts, it seems like, in every game where he just throw some balls and you go, huh? And so I didn't mean to get off on that, but our issues.
I bet Sean Payton was watching the game last night.
You think?
Oh,
I think Sean's watching everything pretty close.
He is, but it would seem like this.
I would say that's number 1 on his. Where I think number 1 would be the Cowboys.
As opposed to that.
That one goes that way last night.
Exactly.
You're going to do that.
Okay, so let's go.
But the offensive line is still a major issue, has been all year. The secondary, good gracious alive. I mean, those pass interferences and at critical times in the game, people open. Our secondary has been poor all year long, George, and it is still very poor. And we still just don't have a go-to dude at wide receiver. The same 3 issues we've dealt with all year long. And that's got to be fixed in the offseason, and it's got to be fixed by the GM coming in. We've got to get better players in these spots.
Okay, last but not least would be item number 4. And
penalties. Penalties are killers.
Yeah, they have no margin for error.
They don't have margin for error in the last 3 or 4 weeks, George. We've been penalized. I mean, that's not been our MO. But here recently, the offensive linemen, 1 out of every 2 series, either hold on first down or jump all sides on first down. And good gracious, it's a little hard for us to make up 1st and 15 or 1st and 20. And then the penalty last night that completely turned the game around was 3rd and 19.
Pass interference.
Dak scrambles around. He ain't got nothing to do with it. He's the heck with it. I'm just going to throw it up. And our guy's got the guy around the waist.
Why does he wrap his arms around him?
He's in there trying to tackle him. I mean, and then acted like it wasn't pass interference. My gracious. Yeah. That play I thought was the killer of the game. And that we were hanging around, and that put it up 2 touchdowns, and then we could never get any closer. But our secondary has been poor. If our front don't get to the quarterback, we struggle. We struggle at running and throwing in the offensive line, and Burks is a long way from being our go-to guy, and there's nobody else anywhere close to being that. I mean, Woods can run 10-yard outs, and he can run little 6-yard option routes, but maybe in a year he's better. I don't know, from that ACL surgery. He just does not look quick to me. He doesn't have very much quickness. We just don't have go-to guys, and then our tight ends show up some, but a tight end's hard to be a go-to guy unless you're unbelievably good, like a Gronk or something like that, or
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. That's about when tight ends become go-to guys, when they're just head and shoulders above everybody else.
Watson, before you go, I want to kind of run this one by you. When I watch Dak Prescott, it seems to me that the ankle thing that happened, when he fractured the ankle, he doesn't look anywhere near as quick trying to get out of the pocket and move around as he used to. Is that me, or is that what really is happening?
I personally think you're right on it. I just don't see the quickness in him. He's a good thrower, not a great consistent thrower, but now he made some really nice throws last night. I mean, put some balls right on the money, but then he does the stupid things along with it sometimes. But yes, George, he does. When he gets loose to go, he doesn't run like he used to. He does not. When he's trying to get out of the pocket, he don't have the quickness that I saw in him in the past. Kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit. The same exact kind of issues that I see with Russell Wilson.
Okay, so let's say that in a couple of weeks, it's easy to say Sean Payton is going to have a decision to make between Dallas and Denver. And to me, there's a lot of similarities in what it is you're trying to fix. Now, Dak's at the moment looks a lot more fixable than Russell Wilson, but take me through that.
Well, Dak's younger. He's a good bit younger. So you'd have to put the check mark to Dak over Russell, just in reps, age alone. And the Cowboys, the resources that they have, if he gets the feeling that he's got the control and Jerry's not telling him everything to do, he's going to Dallas before he goes to Denver, in my personal opinion. And there may still be a change if the Cowboys lose in the first round. I'm not sure there might be a change, and I'm not sure everybody would think that, but I kind of got the feeling that Jerry would love to make that switch and get him on board. I think he's wanted him to be his coach for a lot of years.
I wonder if Peyton told him, look, I need a year, and Jerry Jones said, fine, in a year, there's probably a reason to suspect this will happen. Watson, Happy New Year to you. Look forward to more of this, more fun and frivolity, and maybe a cheap shot or two.
Oh, there might be a few thrown in 2023, I'd say. But Happy New Year to both you guys. And it's an honor to work with both of you. So enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you first of the week.
Absolutely. Same here.
Enjoy it, Watson.
All right, Billy. Take care, George.
When we come back, absolutely, Watson. Happy New Year to you guys up there on the plateau. When we come back, Tennessee's got a bowl game tonight, and it sure feels like it comes down to one factor. We'll talk about that next.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 10:45 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
So tonight we've got an Orange Bowl, and we got two teams that wear orange. That'll be an interesting color combination. I don't know, honestly, who the home team is that gets to wear the orange jerseys.
So Tennessee is going to wear the orange jerseys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot what Clemson's wearing.
Are they going with their purple?
No, they're not going purple. I think Clemson's going white jerseys, orange pants. And then Tennessee is wearing the orange jerseys.
So it'll be a lot of orange.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So you see on the screen, Clemson's a 5.5-point favorite. We've known that for a while. And I don't think what I'm about to say is this just in. But if you're trying to figure out where to go with tonight's game, to me, it comes down to one question. And that is, what's Joe Milton? Now, I guess unfairly, I made up my mind. Nice to see you there.
Yeah. I'm hopping in now, George.
Yeah, good for you. I made my mind up a good year ago that while he may be a really good human being as a quarterback, my belief is that Joe Milton is a stiff. And when I say that, here's what I see in him. I see scenarios where he needs to show you the 128 mile an hour fastball, where I think he grabs the last piece of sawdust out of a football and just fires it with zero touch. The concept of putting air under passes that need air, he struggles with. Against Vandy, Vandy's defense was so bad that his first touchdown, the wide receiver, and I don't remember who it was, caught it. Might as well have
Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, might as well have said fair catch.
Mm-hmm.
He was that open. I don't know that the Vandy game showed me anything new. If he is what I think he is, Clemson will win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, George, what we've seen from Joe Milton most of the season has been mop-up duty and, an opportunity to see what he's got at Vanderbilt. And, that was a rainy night, and he didn't have to be good. I mean, he didn't play very well.
No, if he played well, that game would have ended in the 70s.
Right. And so, but I think that adds to it, George. Like, I don't think he has to play great tonight for Tennessee to win.
Okay, but I'll go the other way. The kid at Clemson, now that they've gotten their stiff out of the way, Ukulele, and shipped him off to Oregon State, this kid Klubnik, I think he's got something.
Yeah, I mean, he really kind of changed the momentum of the team against North Carolina. I mean, he came in and then boom, it was like a switch was flipped in that locker room. They love him, and so George, it's such an interesting quarterback matchup because most of the season we haven't seen these guys. We saw DJ for Clemson and we saw Hendon Hooker for Tennessee. So who knows what we're going to get tonight? I think that's a lot of it. Klubnik's a freshman, and so if Tennessee, I think if they can sort of frustrate him a little bit and get some pressure on him, do we know how he's going to react? But then again, Tennessee's secondary hasn't shown us really anything to prove they can stop a passing attack that's worth anything. So it's really up to the quarterbacks here.
I think what will end up coming out of this game is a lot more of the Clemson faithful looking up going, why did we wait this long?
Right. Well, he had opportunities. I mean, they played him kind of sporadically here and there. It's still head scratching to me though, to kind of see how long they rode with DJ.
Oh, I mean, even in the North Carolina game at the end, the ACC title game, his first 2 or 3 throws are bounced. And I'm like, if you're still having these kind of issues in your junior year, it ain't going to get any better.
No.
If you haven't achieved by then, it's not happening.
No, he was given every opportunity
my goodness.
To succeed. But, George, it really is. I mean, the quarterback that steps up and plays well, because neither defense is worth much. I mean, that
Clemson took on, how am I going to say this? I think they took on more water as the season went along than they would want to admit.
Yeah, I mean, their secondary, very young. I mean, and
they got torched.
They got torched, and Tennessee secondary has not looked good all year either. But George, then again, Tennessee's run defense has been pretty good. I mean, they've been able to stop the run. Clemson's got a good front seven. So, I mean, you look at it, both these teams are in similar situations. A quarterback that's trying to prove themselves, a front seven that has looked good, but a questionable secondary. So which quarterback can step up and make the plays? We saw it from Klubnik. We haven't really seen it from Milton to a great extent, I mean, we've seen a deep ball against Vandy. We've seen, I think he had a couple other deep balls as well, but, he hasn't really sustained anything.
First of all, based a lot on things Tony Basilio has said, I'm rooting for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying him at this point, but I'd like to see him do well. Here's a question. If he stinks it up, do they pull him?
Man, I mean, I don't think so. Just because I don't know who do they have behind him. I think it might be Heath Schuler's son, walk on there.
Make for a good story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you
good
can't
storyline.
You can't play Nico until next year. So, but this is a tryout for Joe Milton, really, and it's a great opportunity, and because Nico he's right behind him. Not until next year, but you already know Tennessee fans are going to be ready to throw that guy in there, and that's what Tony has said. So there's not a better tryout for Milton, George. I mean, it's right here. We're going to see it tonight, and he's got chances. I was listening to Watson earlier today. He was on with Tony, and he said, if they could give him 16 deep ball opportunities, he would have to probably complete about 40% of them. Complete about 6 or 7. But if he just misses on them, if they're all way into the Miami the pool up there, whatever they got, Tennessee's going to lose the game. It's going to be interesting, George. I'm excited.
Listen, it's got a chance to be one of the more entertaining bowls.
I will be interested to see the crowd as well. How many Tennessee fans made the trip? There'll probably be more Tennessee fans. But then again, how many Clemson fans actually make the trip?
Well, Tennessee's had a terrific year, but the South Carolina game took so much starch out that you wonder if the Orange Bowl suffers that tonight.
Yeah, and George, it's funny how we're talking about this before the opt-outs. We were saying, man, huge game. Tennessee fans are going to flock to Miami. And then you see Tillman opt out, Jalen Hyatt opt here, and so they're out, George, and that puts on it.
For a moment, you were out.
Yeah, I opted out of the show for a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, we'll go to the break. So we have a final stat of the day for this year?
Yes, we do, George.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
You got to get it right.
It's not that easy.
Well, if you don't get this one right, you got to start next year off right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So get one of these next two.
Let's do it after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com. After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show, final segment of this 4 o'clock hour as we bring you the final stat of the day of 2022. And it is brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards over in Shelbyville, Tennessee. They are open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5. Also Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Find them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com as well. Also Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. Give Eric a call at 615-490-7052 or visit him online with rockcastlewealth.com for more information. Okay, George, let's check out the stat of the day. No Watson, no help really from anybody. You're all on an island today.
No bullpen. You got to go 9 innings.
You got to go the complete game here, George. Let's see. Nathaniel Hackett is one of 2 NFL head coaches in the last 40 years that have been fired without making it through a single NFL season. Who is the other?
Lou Holtz.
Last 40 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Makes it a little bit interesting.
Oh. Steve Wilkes.
You sure about that?
No.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. Steve Wilkes.
Okay. You're going to scoff at this, George.
Oh, God.
It's Urban Meyer.
Wait a minute. Wilkes got fired
in the last 40 years?
Yes, in less than, it was 2 years ago.
What team did he coach?
Steve Wilkes was at Arizona.
Okay, maybe this is a mistake on Michael's end.
Look him up. Look him up. I'll stall around for a minute. You know, I do wonder. Obviously, Urban Meyer is a correct answer. I don't think he's the only correct answer. And if he's not, I can't wait to really let Michael have it. But I wonder what Urban Meyer thinks as he watches the progress of this Jacksonville team.
So after it says Steve Wilkes fired by the Cardinals after one season.
After one season. Okay.
Right. So he was there one year.
So let's say this. Okay. I bombed at the end.
You bombed.
I bombed. However, what I put out there, the answer that I put out there made a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's not like that was some pathetic
like I
answer.
Said Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
You did, by the way, made it in the year that Steinbrenner fired him. I believe it was something like 18 games into the season. And because of it, Yogi went something like 14 years before he ever spoke to Steinbrenner again.
Oh, man.
How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
That's very Yankees.
It is very Yankees.
Very vintage Yankees there. George, it's time for the 5 o'clock hour.
Is it now?
Yes, it is.
Well, okay.
And it is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic. They combine state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, a sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, they've got the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. And you can also find them on the web at mtbj.net for more information.
Okay. Couple of things we're going to do during this hour. In a moment, Jeff Pennington should be joining us with his thoughts on 3 big college games that are going this weekend. Then Terry McCormick's going to join us. Earlier today, Mike Vrabel, normally the Vrabel press conference, because most of the games are on Sunday, takes place on Monday. But this go round, it's a little bit different. And so the press conference got held earlier today. I'm interested in hearing what Mike Vrabel put out there, because I've got to think for the first time, like in about a month, there's at least a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch, and I don't know that it's good enough to go to Jacksonville and win. I've got my doubts. But I think it's at least a puncher's chance, if not a little better than that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the reason why they brought Dobbs in. They need a guy that can give them a chance to win.
Yeah.
Malik Willis wasn't doing that.
No, and I feel bad for Malik Willis. I think Watson nailed earlier exactly what strategically is going to happen here. Because, number one, I don't know the level of how well he's been coached. I kind of say to myself, doesn't look like a lot of progress has been made from training camp till now. And given how important he appeared to be to their future, you would have thought that there would be a little more progress. There wasn't. Then that's a little disturbing.
Yeah, well, Malik Willis's process of getting him NFL ready was sort of sped up. I mean, they had to, it was like, all right, you got to play now. They threw him out there to the wolves. So, this hasn't been fair to Malik Willis. But I don't know that it's as much of an indictment on Malik Willis as opposed to the Titans need a guy out there that can give them a chance to win.
That can a chance to win now.
Right, exactly. Now this is telling you they're not tanking. They're not, they want to get into the playoffs and give themselves a chance to win. And Dobbs does that. Even George, an injured Tannehill probably wasn't going to be that, and I think that might have fallen into the conversation of, okay, what do we want to do with Tannehill? With the doctors, do we put him on the IR? Let's find a guy. They found Dobbs, and that,
they've been playing with fire for a long time on Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Tannehill took a ridiculous amount of shots a year ago and kept getting up. And, I kept asking during my radio life, are you comfortable knowing that Logan Woodside is one of these hits away? It's bound to happen. Well, this year, it did happen. And again, Tannehill showed incredible toughness, but I'm not sure how many quarterbacks would have stood that level of barrage for a couple, 3 years and lived to tell about it with no injuries.
Yeah. I mean, George, Tannehill, I think there's a bigger question to ask. Is he going to be with the Titans next year? I mean, I think that's something down the road.
And I think might come up when Terry joins us here.
Exactly. And George, we are working on Jeff right now as we speak. So we should have him momentarily. He's got some college football picks, doesn't he?
Yeah, yes, he does. Yeah, and I'm told he's with us. Jeff, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm good. Are we ready to roll, Billy, on your end?
Yeah.
Does that mean
I don't even have to do my makeup for this one.
Oh no, you're looking good on radio. So
I love it. I've always had the face for radio.
Okay, do we play Jeff's commercial at this point?
Yes, we do. It's ready.
Let's do it. Okay, let's go.
Pennington Distilling Company was founded in 2011 with the goal of creating original craft spirits that embody the same character as the city they were born in, Nashville, Tennessee. From grain to glass, every step is taken to produce spirits of exceptional craftsmanship and quality. Pick up one of their award-winning products like Pickers Vodka, Davidson Reserve Whiskey, and Whisper Creek Tennessee Sip and Cream today. Or stop by the distillery in West Nashville and the Nations. Follow them on social media and online at PenningtonDistillingCo.com.
Okay, Jeff, I put it out there earlier that to me, this game is all about what level of proficiency Joe Milton has. Now, admittedly, I've been one of his worst critics. I think he's kind of a stiff. And if he's a stiff tonight, they're not going to win. Do you see it any differently than that?
I'm just excited to be in a big bowl game like this. I think it's going to be fun to play Clemson. Milton has the arm, but my frustrations with Milton have been he always overthrows. You want a 40-yard pass on a dime, he's your man. You want a 20-yard pass on a dime, he's going to give you a 40-yard pass on a dime. And, I was at the Vanderbilt game, and, we shellacked him with him, but, man, he missed a ton of wide-open receivers and was just throwing as hard as he could. I wish he could, he shows up and he shows some touch. The offense is there. I mean, I look, Hennon had a great year. I'm still mad that he didn't even get invited to New York. But that offense also helped him, and that offense has helped the wide receivers. So I think the offense is still there, and if he can run it, the plays will be there to be made. It's just going to come down if he wants to make them or not. So if he makes them, I think we dominate. If he's not making them, I don't think we win.
Okay, it sounds like you're hedging it. Where are you going?
I wouldn't touch it, honestly, but I'd probably take the over.
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet, Jeff.
Yeah. I like the over.
What is the over?
Bet on it, probably in the 70s. Who knows? I haven't watched a lot of Clemson. The defense is still pretty decent, right? I mean,
they've taken on some water. Their secondary has gotten absolutely torched in the last month of the season. Billy, I know you're looking. What does it look like? What's the number?
I'm still looking, George.
Okay, well, let's go on to the playoff games, Jeff, and let's start with the first one. Michigan is
all right. The over/under. Sorry, George. Over/under is 61.5.
Oh, I love the over. That's actually lower than I thought.
That is lower than I thought. Yeah.
I was going to picture 68 to 71. So I like the over right there.
Okay.
Especially if their secondary is taking on water, because if their secondary is not doing real well, now I'm actually partnered with the guy whose son is in the secondary there right now, so I should really be careful.
Better be very careful.
I don't know. I haven't watched much of them, but I know one thing. Our coach can expose a weak secondary.
Yep.
So.
I was going to say Josh Heupel likes bad secondaries.
Yeah. He's not going to give him much time to communicate. So
he's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Michigan TCU game. TCU's a 7.5-point dog. Do they have enough to be there at the end and cover?
I like it. I like plus 7.5. Mainly because I just really like their quarterback, Duggan. I mean, like that game, I know they lost it, but that game where he made that unbelievable, I mean, he took that team on, and I think they got a little bit of a, I think they want to prove they're supposed to be there, because there's a lot of people talking that they shouldn't be there. When I disagree, I think they should. I 100% don't think that a conference game should be able to hurt you. The conference championship, it should only be able to help you. So I like them. I think Michigan's going to come in overconfident. I actually think TCU might win.
Interesting. Wow.
I like it. Jeff, I'm with you. I think a lot of people are underrating this TCU team and sort of the grit and guts that they've shown. And if Duggan plays the way he did in that conference championship game, Michigan better watch out.
Yeah, and the Big 12, I know they're not as strong as they maybe always are, but they're not that weak. You know, they've still got good teams, and I think TCU's a better team than people give them credit for.
As the week has gone on, more and more people are trying to give the narrative of Ohio State that, you know, this is redemption, this is that. They're a 6.5-point dog. It's not a neutral site. It's a Georgia home game, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Can Ohio State pull this?
I mean, they could, I guess, but I don't think so. I think Georgia rolls. I think Georgia rolls big. I think this is a classic. You know, Georgia's now the new Alabama, right? I mean, Alabama's a couple plays away from being Alabama, but Georgia's they're the SEC dominant one. They're going to go out there and they're now representing the SEC in the playoffs, and they're going to show everybody while they're still. I mean, I still can't believe we jumped them that one time. I think it's the worst thing that happened in Tennessee was when they ranked us 1 right before we played Georgia. You saw how they showed up. They're like, why'd you do that? They don't need any more firing up. I think they're ready to roll. I think he's going to have that team prepared like Saban always does, and I think they dominate. I love Georgia minus 6.5.
Okay, so Billy, in review, I couldn't quite tell what he wanted in the Clemson-Tennessee game. He wanted the over. I know that. He's going.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to take Tennessee if I had to pick because I just can't. I'll never go against my orange blood. But it's really Milton. I don't have faith in Milton's consistency yet. Hopefully, he proves me wrong.
And it's interesting though. The line was at 6 yesterday. It's moved down to 4.5. So I wonder if Vegas knows something. I don't know what it would be. But
how many times have we asked that question? And we asked that question.
It's moved to 1.5 this week. Yeah,
sure has.
That means there's a lot of money on Clemson. I mean, I don't even know who else. I know we've got a couple guys not playing. I don't know who else not playing from their side. So, but I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think both teams have a lot to play for. It's a pride game. So it's not the playoff game, but it's the second best. It's the second best bowl game to the playoffs, I think. So
be a lot of orange.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of orange in Miami tonight.
Hey, you have a happy new year, Jeff. Appreciate all the support and look forward to more of it as we get down to the end with the NFL stuff as well.
Love it. That's hey, can we give a shout out to my boy Dobbs before we go?
I mean, great.
I mean, I was just so proud to see him get his first NFL start back here in Tennessee. And I don't know about you. I know we didn't win and we all that, but I mean, I think that offense had a different look to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of hope.
Yeah, I mean, he was moving. I like how they're moving the pocket around with him. He's really smart. I hope that he gets to start next week with Henry. I posted last night on social media. I said I would love to see a little ball Tide magic. You never know. You got to try something crazy at this point. So I'd love to. I think you give him back the starters, and I was impressed with Burks last night. So I got a little bit of hope. And everybody's like, "Why do you even care? We're still losing the playoffs." It's like because I want to keep that playoff streak going.
Yeah,
so
baby.
I think Dobbs looked great. I really did. So I don't know what y'all think on that.
And well, Jeff, you're getting another Clemson-Tennessee matchup next Sunday. Trevor Lawrence most likely against Josh Dobbs.
Oh, wow.
Oh, old sunshine.
Yeah. Okay.
My friend calls him Martina Navratilova because he says he looks just like her.
Similar hairdos. Hey, have a good new year. We'll talk again next Friday.
Have a good one. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Absolutely, and same to you. Stay tuned. After the break, Terry McCormick will join us. We'll get into Mike Vrabel's press conference. All of that on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Mike Vrabel held his press conference earlier today, which is unusual, but of course a Thursday night game makes that the way I guess protocol works in that kind of deal. So we want to get a little bit of what went on in that press conference. Terry McCormick joins us to talk a little bit. Terry, it was hard to tell last night in the telecast. If you had to guess, what was the ratio Titans fans to Cowboys fans?
Probably, I would say a little more than half Cowboys fans, judging from the loudness of the crowd. Because both teams wear blue, it was a little harder to detect than, say, if they were playing the Chiefs or the Steelers or something. But whenever the Cowboys would make a big play, you certainly heard the roar of the crowd. And I guess the most talented were there. There was a "Let's Go Cowboys" chant that got going late in the game when the outcome had been determined with just about 3 or 4 minutes to go. And the Titans were wise enough to turn up the PA music and drown that out.
I like it. So let's start with the normal question about injuries. How did they come out of last night?
Well, they lost Andrew Adams probably for the year with a knee injury. He got carted off on that play where he was in coverage and gave up the touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz. His season is over. There are reports out that it was a patella tendon that he suffered. That was the injury he suffered. So obviously it takes a long time to recover from that. Another guy, a special teamer, Devontae Harris, went out with a hamstring injury and didn't return. But overall, other than that, the news was actually pretty good, and probably because they held so many people out of the game to get them as ready as possible for the game next weekend down in Jacksonville. The one thing that came out of today's press conference that could be good news is that it looks like David Long may be close to a return at inside linebacker, and he's a guy that certainly could help that defense.
Terry, I know that going into the week, I said to myself, they've got no shot in Jacksonville. And you kind of heard that from me a couple of days ago when we did the State of the Union with Watson. Do you feel considerably different now about their chances?
I think they've got what you would call a puncher's chance. They have to go down there and not turn the ball over and not have 120 yards of penalties. And they need to do some of the things that they did last night in the passing game to complement what they're going to get from Derrick Henry. I thought Josh Dobbs, while he's not exactly the second coming of Steve McNair at quarterback for this franchise, gave them some things that they hadn't had with Malik Willis in there, and that was very encouraging.
Terry, the officiating, I thought, especially late in the game, was definitely questionable. You saw, the roughing the passer call on, I forget who it was from the Titans, but they talked about the drive to the ground. Kirk Herbstreit was talking about that, and then the same thing happens to Dobbs, and that's not called. And then there's another PI called that Vrabel I think thought was probably PI. So from your perspective watching the game, did you think those should have been called, especially with the way they were calling them for the other side?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of inconsistency other than, the egregious one on Trey Avery where he grabbed Michael Gallup around the waist, gave up a 51-yard pass. I thought the other ones could have, gone either way, and sometimes a no call's the right call. But, you'd like to see them be consistent on the roughing the passer. There were a couple times where the Cowboys had some nice gains. There was one obvious hold against Rashad Weaver that was missed on one run. And, 124 yards in penalties is certainly not going to win you very many ball games. And, I thought maybe things were a little slanted in favor of the Cowboys, but there were a couple of things that maybe Titans fans wanted that could have gone either way, but they didn't get it.
Terry, what do we know about the process by which the Brain Trust said, okay, this isn't going to work with Malik Willis. We're going to go with Josh Dobbs and see how that goes. Talk to me about what you know about that.
Well, after the game, Josh Dobbs was in his media session post game, and he was asked about that, and he said that he got a phone call on his way home, leaving the stadium on Christmas Eve, with Pat O'Hara asking him to come in on Christmas Day and review some film in case they wanted him to play. So he did. He came in the afternoon on Christmas Day, was able to go over some things, kind of get an idea of what they were looking at and looking for, and then they made the they made the decision and announced that to both he and Malik Willis on December 26th when the team reassembled to get ready for the Cowboys.
What do you think this means long term for Malik Willis?
I think it means that he still has a very, very long way to go before he is ready to be a starting NFL quarterback. And I tweeted this out last night. And, I think we saw two things. Josh Dobbs' situation showed us two things. It showed us how unready Malik Willis was to be the second string quarterback, coming from a unique offense at Liberty and trying to adjust to the pro style game. It's going to take some time. And number two, it showed that this team spent too much time trying to develop Logan Woodside into a second string quarterback when they could have had somebody the caliber of Josh Dobbs or maybe even better on this roster all along, and maybe you wouldn't be having this problem. Maybe you would even have Ryan Tannehill, because if you had a backup that you trusted more, you could have let Tannehill's ankle injury heal more completely rather than running him back out there and him getting hurt a second time and being done for the season. So it's a domino effect. But to answer your question on Malik Willis, I think the way Josh Dobbs played, which was, a decent performance, especially for having only been there just over a week, that it's going to be a long way and a long road for Malik Willis to someday be this team's quarterback. I think the signs would probably point even more now toward Ryan Tannehill coming back and being your starter in 2023, maybe beyond.
Okay, let me try it this way. Do you think Malik Willis is on the Titans roster in 2023?
I'd say it's a better than average possibility, but I could see a scenario where, given the way he's played, that you could slide him through waivers and final cuts and put him on the practice squad. Because you look at it, George, when Baker Mayfield was dropped by the Panthers, now granted he was making more money and his contract was a little trickier to claim than Malik Willis in the first year or second year of a rookie contract would be. But Baker Mayfield was claimed by exactly one team. So if Baker Mayfield is only claimed by one team off waivers, I would think that Malik Willis might be able to sneak through waivers on a practice squad unless he shows tremendous improvement in the offseason and next preseason.
Terry, I don't know if anybody really expected that type of performance from Josh Dobbs last night. Now, of course, you mentioned it. He wasn't necessarily the second coming of Steve McNair, but, he did what he could. How much do you think the emotional aspect of this might have played into it for Dobbs? He's coming back to the state where he had a great college career. Tennessee fans are excited. There's a lot of Titans fans that are Tennessee fans. So do you, after talking with him after the game, did you sense any of that sort of emotional motivation for him?
I think so. There's probably some of that, but I also think too that this was a guy who'd been in the league for 6 years. The Titans are his fifth organization, and that was his first NFL start. I think, to me, in the sense that I got from Josh Dobbs, that was probably more motivation to play well than just being back in his home or his adopted home state. I think he's actually from Georgia. But I think just finally getting the opportunity, and he talked about that last night, is probably what was much more satisfying for him. And then to do as well as he did with it, even though the Titans didn't win, I think Josh Dobbs showed you that he's worthy of an NFL roster spot.
Terry, anything else you want to leave us with?
Well, the Titans will take off, the next couple of days. There'll be the guys who are battling injuries will be in for rehab and treatment and those sorts of things. And then they will convene next week for the play-in playoff game in Jacksonville. And the interesting thing about that, George, is we still don't completely know for sure whether that game is going to be on Saturday or Sunday. It'll depend on the outcome of some of the other games this weekend as to how many different teams might be in a win and in situation similar to the Titans and Jags.
It would be easy to speculate that could be a primetime game.
Exactly. I think some of it is going to depend on a Bengals-Ravens rematch that's in Week 18, and also the potential that a Lions-Packers game could be a win and end situation if both those teams are able to win this weekend.
Who ever thought we would say that about Detroit? And frankly, when Green Bay was in the dumper, who would have thought we'd say that about the Packers? Terry, Happy New Year to you, and we'll do it again down the road.
All right. Happy New Year, guys.
Terry McCormick with his daily Titans update.
Yeah, George, the final one of 2022, and it's been brought to you by Sumner Funeral and Cremation, as well as the Justin Tucker team. First for Sumner, they are sharing their family with yours in your time of need. They've got 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and also online at sumnerfuneral.com. For the Justin Tucker team, they are Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458.
Plaster bet of the day is coming up.
Bets of the weekend.
Bets of the weekend. You're darn tootin'. So stay tuned. This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
All right, one final set of bets of the weekend for George as we close out 2022, hopefully on a high note.
Darn tootin' we are.
For Plaster. But, George, let's get to Bart Durham Injury Law. They present the bet of the day every day. In this case, the bet of the weekend. George, Bart Durham, since 1975, they've aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you, too, have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging onto their website. That's bartdurham.com. Okay, George, let's check out what happened last night. And, man, these bowls these last few nights have not gone the right direction.
It has not been good.
It was horns down last night. A big dud.
Quinn Ewers is overrated.
Did you watch that?
Yeah,
George?
I watched.
You got to
some of
admit
it,
the
then I fell asleep.
receivers
Yeah,
towards the beginning, they didn't help him a whole lot.
But he thinks he's big man on campus with that ridiculous looking hairdo. And
he'll try to make these sidearm throws that I don't quite understand. But George, you look better than Quinn Ewers did last night, at least so far. You're still above 500.
Yeah, and I need to finish 2022 strong, and I think I'm going to.
You know, I think there's a good chance, George. You're not necessarily loading up on the college games. I think you've got, you're working with a couple college games and a couple NFL games. So we'll start in the playoff. You've got a 2-team teaser rolling for Saturday night. What you got?
Well, bottom line is I do think both of the favorites are going to win. Now, are they going to cover? I don't know. That's why you do the 2-team teaser. Michigan down to -1.5, Georgia at a pick'em. Here's where I'm coming from in this. Michigan looked like an absolute juggernaut when they went to Ohio State. That was them saying, Daddy is home, and we're pretty good. Yeah. And I think TCU, on the other hand, this rest period for them might be really good, but I don't think they were as good at the end of the year as they were about midway through it.
Yeah. Now, George, a lot of the talk with this TCU-Michigan game is, TCU, they may fight, they may hang in there, but
it's because of Max Duggan.
Right, but is it going to be enough? That's the big question.
That's why they call it gambling. So then we got Georgia. Okay, Ohio State, we go back to that game. Ohio State got the crap kicked out of them. Now, motivation is a great factor, and it worries me because you could argue the same thing happened to Georgia a year ago in the SEC title game, and it did. And it served as a great wake-up call. If this game were anywhere but home field, big home field for Georgia, I would have some hesitation. I do not believe Georgia is getting beat on their neutral site home field. I just don't believe it. So that's where I'm going.
And before almost every Georgia game that we've talked about, SEC title, the big Tennessee game, we would lead up with a lot of, hey, Tennessee's got a shot. Maybe LSU has a shot. Maybe Ohio State has a shot. But as soon as the game starts, you see how physically imposing Georgia is with all those athletes, and your mind kind of quickly changes, at least for me, in a lot of these Georgia games. So I think that's kind of the case with Ohio State fans. They're excited. They think they may have a shot, but kickoff happens and life kind of hits you pretty fast. So we'll see about those.
Okay, the next one is the strongest feeling I have about a bowl game.
And no graphics for these, George. So verbal.
Okay.
Yeah, radio
Here goes.
style.
I'm taking Utah -2.5 in the Rose Bowl against Penn State. If you saw Utah at the end of the season, nobody in their right mind wants to play them. Penn State's good. Help me with the name of the quarterback. Sean, all of a sudden I can't think of it. The quarterback at Penn State.
I'm forgetting it
too.
He
is going to have to be lights out for this not to work because I think Utah is really good.
Yeah.
Now to the 2 pro games. I like Green Bay. I'm buying it. I'm also buying that Minnesota defensively is not very good. And this is one of those times where it's going to catch up with them. At Lambeau, it's a pennant race kind of game, and Green Bay is going to be jacked up, and they're going to cover at home against the Vikings.
You talk about motivation. I mean, Minnesota, I don't know if they're resting anybody. George, you probably wouldn't expect them to, but Packers, they're throwing all their chips on the table. They've got to win.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a playoff game for them. So,
and then I'm going with the Sunday night game. Baltimore at home, -2.5. I don't think it's Lamar Jackson. If it were, the line would be higher. And that gives you cause for pause. Tyler Huntley he's
not necessarily the next coming of Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, no. Wow. You've learned that one before, haven't you? Fine. I think that was a cheap shot, so I'm throwing that at you. Okay. We're done for 2022. We'll be back on Tuesday. Looking forward to a fun show on Tuesday because there'll be a lot to react to. A lot of football will have come and gone. Now, as is always the case around New Year's, you need to drive safe because there are a lot of people out there doing a lot of partying. Wear your seatbelt, drive safe. We're going to want you back safe and sound on Tuesday.
And if you're questioning whether or not to go out, there's some good football games as well. So you could also just stay home and watch the games. So little message.
You might be doing the world a favor.
Yeah.
Okay. We're done for tonight. This is Main Street Media Television.